Hi everyone, Scrappy Kathy here with Mixed Media Mayhem, and I'm also playing along with 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life, and today's sketch is by Janet Leahy, who is also known as Scrap Dolly, so you may have seen her under that name. She is amazing. She makes absolutely the most beautiful pages. This is the first of her sketches I've ever seen. So I love it. There's a corner cluster here, the photo cluster there, and then there's this interesting little stitched arrow. And you know I don't do stitching, but I have some washi tape that does stitching for me. And I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do for the arrow, but I'll figure out something. I may do little strips of this other washi tape. So I know that I'm going to kind of improvise as we go along. I'm using the Mind the Scrap September kit, and I've added in these stamps. The Mixed Media Mayhem recipe is for stamping, crayons, and splatters. And I've got a NeoColor crayon in this kind of mint green and a couple Vicki Boutin crayons in this darker green and the bluer blue. And I'm going to maybe mix those up on my little sheet here. And where she's got the large splatters indicated, I'm going to maybe do some stamping with this visible image stamp. The set is called Rays of Light, and it's got the title on there, Sparkle, which I thought would be good because I have kind of an extraordinary picture of Ava here. She is modeling the Welsh rugby jersey that was gifted to her by Sue Davis, who is also known as her Welsh Auntie Sue. She was one of several of my scrappy buddies who were particularly attentive to how Ava was doing when she was going through treatment for leukemia. And I've got this piece of packaging from the Art Options Elena. In the kit we got this double-sided paper from Echo Park called Fall Fever, and I've used both the red and the gold for my layers, and we'll just see how it goes from here. There will be a flare or two pulled in. Let me see where the ones are. And of course she's baby squirrel, so I've got to have my baby squirrel. Not quite sure what color, so I'll just put the whole bucket there. And what I wanted to do here is the red and the gold are the strong colors, but I'm kind of wanting to do the have this aqua as another main color, but it's going to come in different ways. It'll be in the mixed media, the crayons, but I thought I might also have a few accents here and there. And of course my cool color blues are down at the bottom of my stack of Flair. And I should have done this before I started filming, but it's like a lot of shoulda, coulda, woulda things in my in my life. I do want to pull this BrambleFox heart in a nice teal-ish color. I'm going to put it right there so that I pay attention to it. Let me see if I can peel the backing off of it. and make sure it's the right color. I have several blues in there, and I actually have some of those large splatters that Karen has in her sketch could maybe be interpreted with sequins, and I have some sequins on my desk. I'm going to just put it maybe right there, and I like that. I have sequins on my desk that fall in that color range, and I just need to pick all of the somehow all of my foam strips, my foam scraps have ended up in there, and I just need to get them out. And see, there's quite a few in there, even the red and the gold. So I'm going to put them there, and then we'll see what happens. But let me get some Flair. I did want a fairly pale-ish interpretation of that color, and I'm not sure I tend when I order not to buy pale colors. This one is perfect, and this one would probably do. Okay. So now, let's see where to begin. The crayons are going to have to start. I've cut these out and rounded the corners, and then we'll see how we arrange all of those. What I thought from the sketch that I kind of wanted to do was put some of the mixed media up in here and some down in this corner, and then some kind of in the middle over to the right side here. So I'm going to scribble with the colors, the crayons, on here. And the NeoColor will be a little bit different texture and performance from the Vicki Boutin colors. And I'm going to mix them up on here with a paintbrush, but I'm going to apply them okay. Is that looking anything like what I want? Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Now, what I think I'm going to do is like a double kiss, sort of an idea here. I'm going to kiss this onto here. Oops, I'm getting some splashes. And then I'm going to kind of put it there. It's very subtle, which is kind of what I wanted. And it's going on fairly lightly, so it should dry quickly. Okay. Let me do just a little bit more in my main places here. I love how there are some bits that didn't quite dissolve. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Now what I'm going to do, just to get a little bit more on, is I'm going to kind of do that. I don't know that that made much difference, but if I feel like there's any color left on there, I really don't ever want to waste it. Okay, so that's done, and I'm going to just roll this to be sure it's dry, because I don't necessarily want it wet when I do stamping, which is my next process. Okay, now let me get, I have to place the photo cluster stuff. So that, if that's gonna go, it's not gonna be that big. It's gonna go kind of like that, and there, and then I'm gonna have, she has the narrower behind the wider, so it's gonna go like that. And this is going to go like that, and this is going to go like that. Okay, so that's the placement there. So it looks like I might want some stamping right in here and right here, kind of a little bit lower than where that is, or I could raise this. Let's raise that. That works better for me. Then I can do my stamping kind of right here and right here and right up here in this corner. Okay, got that figured out. Let's do it. Okay, and the stamping right here, I wanted to be this big one. In fact, I may do a big one kind of off the page on both corners as well. Okay, let me get that a little more solid in the middle there. Okay. Now I'm just going to do it like so, and then I'll assume that I can place it so that part of it is hidden underneath, so it looks like it's coming out from underneath the photo cluster. There we go. Okay, I like it. It has, you can kind of see where the crayon kissing has gone on, that it's not quite sticking there. I'm going to put this under here and do this kind of off the page. Get that done. Okay. And then up here, I'm going to have a circular element, and I don't want it to look too off kilter from the circular element. I may want to place it where I think the circular element is going to be, and then let the circular element be right kind of in the middle of it. We'll see how that works. We shall see. Okay, let's do it like so. Oh no, it moved. Well, that's okay. It's just starrier, right? If that's a word. And I think we'll call it a word. So, for instance, this is what I was planning to use there. And I could do that And I have this, which maybe could go right there. And then instead of the bannery things coming out like that, the sparklies are gonna work for that. So we'll see. I won't do this yet. And I'm not sure what I'm gonna do here. I may, well, we'll see. Okay, I do want to do some other ones of these sparkles, and I've got a large one and a medium one. And I might just kind of slightly overlap. There. Oops, I should have had something masking that. And then something there. Okay, and then I've got the small one. I'm going to do it right there. That's kind of cute. And that right there. And then let's do this one maybe right there with a tight overlay. Okay, so that's all of those done. Now, for some reason, when I looked at these, it made me like the idea of these circles around. And I have another tiny kind of, let's just do that there, and then maybe I'll turn it and do one here. I'll do right there, and that there. Okay, I like it like that. Let me see if this little tiny one can go right by the big circle. Ooh, I like that. And it kind of covers up that part of the circle didn't get stamped. Okay. Yay! I could stop right there. Now, let me get the title stamped. This is going to be tricky. I did want to use some of the crayon coloring behind it. And now, let's see, where's that paintbrush I used? It should have some on it. How about we do that? Okay, and this is photo paper, so it should absorb it right away. And I kind of want it not to look like it's uniform, so I'm going to kind of dab it, kind of like that sponge technique you used to do on walls. How many of you, raise your hands, show of hands, how many of you have done sponge techniques on your walls? And I don't have any in this house, but, And I don't think I had any in the Jackson house either, but the three previous to that did. Okay, I'm gonna put these kind of off the table. I'm gonna let that dry a bit. And then I'm gonna lay it on here. And I'm gonna ink up my stamp. And if it messes up, I'll do another one. It's off camera till I get it right. Because this I definitely want to be nice. Okay, so let's get it situated. Wish me luck. The ink was still a little bit, or the crayon was still a little bit wet. Ooh, it's perfect. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's start putting this guy together. Okay. I'm so happy with that. That's perfect. I love that font. Okay, let me get my guideline here, and then let me get my paper back. Okay, so I'm gonna do the photo cluster. And what I thought I would do, I made this frame. I cut it out of the red side of that red and gold paper. And I wanted something, I don't like pictures just kind of stuck back in the back of a frame and perfectly framed. I thought I would like some kind of backing, and then the photos just kind of put on there, maybe like so. I'm gonna actually glue them together because I like that spacing. There's a bit of wall that shows here that's not important. These are the same photo. I used a filter called Cartoon in my Prisma app, and you have two options. It normally does a big close-up portrait. No matter what your photo is of it, it finds a face and makes a portrait out of it. But there's another option where you can do the whole photo, and it makes it square, but it does more. So you can see that you're getting a little bit more of the shirt, the jersey showing here. Okay, so I'm gonna place this like so. And anyway, I found this packaging that's actually the perfect size to go behind it, as long as I cut it about, say, right there at that branch. Let me get that done, and then I can maybe assemble that and put that on there. Let's do that. And my sparkle isn't exactly that color, but it's probably close enough. And if I vary the colors around in there enough. So I can do this. It'll stand up on this backing. Let me just go ahead and do that, because I need this in place to place all the other pieces. And I've used a fairly thick foam. That's to add dimension. When I do stamping, there's not a lot of dimension around. But I just love how the crayon and the stamping came together there. Okay. That didn't completely get on there. There we go. Okay, that's close enough, although I do have to cover that in order to tuck things down under it. So let me put that right there. Get the red behind and the gold in front. And I'm going to go ahead and get the spacing figured out on these. I'm going to do it like that, so that, well, and of course then I moved it so that I can get this one the same. I didn't get that parallel. It still wants to move around on me. Okay, let's get this on top of this, like that. And normally I don't worry about spacing that much, but on this one it seems like it's gonna be important. And I think that's fairly close. Okay, so this is gonna go here, but what I have to be sure of is that my title can fit on there, because that has to go. And I'm going to put it up on foam, just the thinner foam, just to separate it from those layers a bit. Sorry this is taking so long. I'm actually going to do it across the layers, kind of like that. So now, when I tuck this under, I need a layer of foam in the very middle. And this, I still need something kind of covering that to keep it from wanting to stick where I don't want it to stick yet. Okay, so that can go like so. Let me cut some off the bottom of that so it doesn't hit where the foam hit. Okay, so that goes like that, and I'm gonna cut off here too, and there will be some journaling, and the journaling, I forget whether Karen's does not extend past, but mine, I think, is going to. I'm going to have to redo the journaling because I spelled Bristol wrong. I proofread everything else, but I'd like the typing to be a little bit smaller, and I would like Bristol to be spelled correctly. So just as a placekeeper, I'm going to kind of put that right there. And I'll put my other... Well, no, I'm going to leave it off, and then I'll put it on when I figure out what I want. Okay, so let me get this where I want it to be on here. Okay, let me get it like so. And then I'll get this where I want it to be. And now is when I can let that part stick. But I'm going to kind of do this to it. And I'm actually going to maybe put some foam there in those two places. This is a little bit of hassle because if I want dimension, I'm kind of creating barriers with this many layers. And it all started with wanting to back that frame. So let me get this. Now it's going to be permanently placed. And I've got to get it. Make sure it's parallel. And then that, my journaling is going to kind of come down like this, but I'm going to make it narrower. And the photos are going to go like so. And so I need to put some tape behind this one. And then I can prop the other one up on there. And I'm going to do it like so. I guess it's going to have to now. There we go. And I have this flare, which I thought maybe could go, how about the striped one down there? Oh, how about the now and always, kind of just put right here, like now and always her Welch Auntie Sue is there for her. I thought I would do one of the flare up here, and I think this one is a better color. So, and I'm gonna put one of these guys, which is kind of thick, and I'll put it on one side so that it can rest over that there. And then I'm thinking that right here, I may take a couple of strips of this washi, and if I don't like it, I can always peel it off, right? So that kind of looks like an arrow. And then let me get this other washi that will look like stitching. I don't like it. I'm going to take it off, and maybe I will use it for, well, let's see if there's a use for it elsewhere. I can take an element. I have no problems taking an element and moving it. Now I did notice that underneath the very bottom layer there are some banners. And I kind of like using these bits in place of banners and maybe overlapping them. But my journaling is going to interfere with that, maybe. So why don't I just put them maybe side by side so that the journaling can go down. I'm going to cut this to the width that I think it might end up being. How about, and I'll do this. If it came over that way, I still would want to overlap them so they look like that. So I'll do that. I will make them the same width as the red paper layer. I'll do that, and then I'll put a little bit of foam, and you can't even see that. So I'm putting that there, and I'm going to do some overlapping, some foam, because that overlaps there. I'll put the foam right here. And then I'll do this right there. Okay, now I'm going to repeat one of those colors up here. And I think I might, or maybe instead of circular, I'll do this, and we'll put a flare, the striped flare right there, and maybe this that says choose happy. What if I did that, and then that? Okay, I think that might work. Let me get this glued down. This side was obviously a little bit wetter. Oh no. That wasn't good to pull the end off the pin. That's disappointing. Okay. I've got that down, and then I want the flare to kind of overlap it in an unusual way, either low or high, and I'm going to put a couple of these things. Do I want the flare this way and the words that way, or the flare this way and the words that way? I think I'm going to go with it horizontally. So I'm going to do it, and it's going to overlap. I'll do it this way. I put these little guys over to one side so it can kind of hop over that level there. Like that, and then I'll glue this on. Okay, and what else do I want to use? I hate that I don't have this ready. I tell you what I'm going to do is I will cut it just to get the effect, and I'll round that other corner so that I can see how the overall composition is doing. Now, what on earth can I do to glue that top back on there? Where's my corner rounder? Here it is. And I'll round this. So it's going to go like that. Okay. Does that seem crooked? Is this on there? This doesn't seem, well, you know, it kind of is what it is, because I don't think I can move it now, but I can embellish around it so that it's not as noticeable. So let me get a squirrel, maybe that white one, or do we want this little kind of blue one? It could go right there. And that gives us yet a different color of aqua-ishness, which I'm sure is a crafty word. I'll go like that, and it'll kind of overlap the journaling when I put it in. And then this one, I'll put on one of these foam dots as well, but on the tail, because that's the widest part. And I'll place it like that. And then let's get some splatters on here, and then I'll do sequins on top of that. So I'm going to have to, yet again, pull another pin. I've got one bottle in use, and I bought 2 extra bottles so I could have the pins, and I've used both of them now. I don't think I'm going to use that washi tape anywhere. Let me get the sprinkles, the splatters on. And I'm using Dylusions Shimmer Spray. And let me get that. Oops, I've got a, and I'm just going to do it where the stamping is. Okay. And now I will put dots for a few sequins. And let me go find those. I'm not going to do a huge number of these. And I didn't want to be real selective, but some of these are stuck together. So how did that happen? And there's no point in debating it much because it doesn't matter. Let's see. Well, you know what? You get the idea, and I'm going to use colors that are not necessarily in the rest of the page because they'll be known as accents. And if they're stuck together with some other sequins, I'll let them stay stuck. And That will be fine. And I won't make you watch me put them here and here, but I'll be doing more of the same. I think it's the way I have the photos on there that causes the whole thing, because this is parallel to the edge. I'll have to mess with that a bit, but not too much. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next Friday for more Mixed Media Mayhem. Bye.